I'm so nervous, but so excited.
Don't you worry, sweetie. You look perfect. It's gonna be a beautiful day. You look absolutely stunning.
Oh, wow, look at you.
We are so happy for you. Congratulations.
The sun rose gently over the bustling city, casting golden light across streets alive with color and anticipation. Today was Ayanna's wedding day, a day she had dreamed of since she was a little girl. From her room on the top floor of her family's modern apartment building, she could hear the laughter and chatter of her bridesmaids below, their voices blending with the soft hum of music drifting from the courtyard. Ayanna stood before the mirror, her fingers trembling slightly as they smoothed the silk of her ivory gown. Her reflection smiled back at her, a bride full of hope, excitement, and dreams of a beautiful future. She felt a rush of joy as she adjusted the delicate veil, imagining the life she would share with Kofi, her fiancé. Quiet mornings, whispered promises, shared laughter. It all seemed so real now. Her bridesmaids fussed around her, adjusting straps, brushing stray hair, and teasing her gently. Their laughter was contagious, and Ayanna felt the warmth of love surrounding her. Her mother hovered nearby, carefully placing a pair of pearl earrings in her ears, whispering words of encouragement. Her father's eyes glistened with unshed tears as he clasped her hands, silently conveying pride and love. The room felt full, alive, and safe, a cocoon of family, friendship, and hope. Outside, Kofi was preparing for the ceremony in a nearby room. He smiled at his reflection in the mirror, smoothing his tie and straightening his jacket. Yet beneath the surface, there was a flicker of tension. His eyes wandered to his phone more than once, and a subtle unease tugged at the edges of his expression. No one else seemed to notice. To everyone around him, he appeared calm, charming, devoted. But Ayanna, from the corner of her eye during their few shared moments, caught brief flashes of something she could not yet name. Hesitation, distraction, a whisper of distance. The streets below were alive with celebration. Vibrant banners swayed in the morning breeze. Children ran around laughing, and the aroma of fresh flowers filled the air. Guests began to arrive, their smiles bright, their eyes sparkling with anticipation. Traditional drums rolled in rhythm with the excitement, their beats mingling with the laughter and chatter. Everything seemed perfect, every detail carefully orchestrated, every moment filled with love. As the ceremony began, Ayanna took her first steps down the aisle. Her heart raced, yet her steps were steady. She glimpsed Kofi waiting at the altar, a smile lighting his face. The sun caught the sparkle of his eyes, or at least the eyes he let her see. Applause and joyful cheers filled the courtyard as she reached him, and their hands met in a gentle, yet firm clasp. Promises were spoken, vows of love, loyalty, and devotion, words that felt sacred and true. Even in the midst of this idyllic moment, a tiny shadow whispered at the edges of Ayanna's awareness. Kofi's hand twitched ever so slightly as he held hers. His gaze flickered to something behind her, and she noticed a subtle tension in his posture. Perhaps it was nerves. Perhaps it was nothing at all. But the hint of unease lingered like a distant echo, one she could not quite dismiss. For now, though, Ayanna smiled. She allowed herself to sink into the happiness of the moment, the hope of what lay ahead. This was her day, her perfect day, a celebration of love, dreams, and the promise of forever. The reception hall was alive with music, laughter, and the gentle clinking of glasses. Guests danced, cheered, and whispered congratulations, their faces glowing with happiness. Ayanna moved through the crowd, smiling and greeting loved ones, though her mind occasionally drifted to Kofi. Every glance at him, every shared smile, seemed to reaffirm the love she had trusted for so long. And yet, a quiet, nagging curiosity tugged at her, a feeling she could not name. Finally, seeking a brief moment of peace amidst the celebration, Ayanna slipped away to a quiet corner near a window that overlooked the city skyline. The soft glow of the setting sun painted everything in gold, a perfect reflection of the joy she had felt all day. She held her hand delicately, admiring the new wedding ring she had worn for the first time after the vows, a symbol of love, unity, and a shared future. Her fingers moved to adjust the ring, and that's when she saw it. Tiny, precise letters were engraved along the inner band, almost hidden in the warm glow of gold. But there was no mistaking it. Lena. Ayanna froze. The world seemed to tilt on its axis, and for a heartbeat, the music, laughter, and chatter of the reception faded into silence. Shock surged through her veins, followed by confusion, disbelief, and a hollow, rising fear. Her fingers trembled as they touched the cold metal, as if the ring itself had suddenly turned to lead. Her mind raced. How? Why? The name was unmistakable, etched in gold for the world to see. Or, in this case, for her alone. Could it be a mistake? Could the jeweler have engraved it wrong? The more she tried to reason, the less it made sense. The ring, the symbol of a promise she had trusted with her heart, now felt like a lie. The emotional impact hit her like a wave. Every sound in the room seemed distant, muffled, as if she were submerged in water. The laughter, the drums, the clinking glasses, all of it faded into an echo. Ayanna's heartbeat thundered in her ears, each beat loud, accusing, painful. She gripped the ring tighter, feeling betrayal coil around her chest like a vine. 1,000 questions surged at once. Should she confront Kofi now? Would she ruin the day, humiliate him in front of everyone? Or should she stay silent, keep her composure, and wait for the right moment? Each thought brought more pain, and yet each choice felt impossible. The ring, a circle meant to symbolize eternity, now felt like a trap, binding her not to love, but to doubt. She looked up at the celebration around her. Friends laughed, unaware of the storm inside her. Parents smiled proudly. Strangers clapped in joy, and Kofi mingled with guests, oblivious or pretending to be. Ayanna's chest tightened. Every movement, every gesture she had trusted for years now seemed tainted. Could she ever see him the same way again? Could she ever trust a touch, a smile, a promise? Tears pricked at her eyes, but she blinked them back, unwilling to let the first drop fall. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her shaking hands. The engraved name gleamed at her, mocking her trust, her hope, her perfect day. It was a cruel reminder that happiness could be fragile, that even the brightest moments could hide shadows. Her thoughts spiraled. She pictured confronting him, demanding answers. She imagined the humiliation of a public scene, the judgment of friends and family. And yet, the uncertainty gnawed at her more than anything. She could not leave it unexamined. She had to know the truth, even if it meant shattering the illusion she had clung to. The symbolism of the ring weighed on her. Once it had represented unity, commitment, love. Now it symbolized deceit, hidden truths, and a betrayal she could hardly comprehend. The metal against her skin was a constant reminder of promises that might never have been real. Ayanna's breathing slowed as she forced herself to think clearly. She knew she could not let panic or despair take control. But beneath the forced calm, her heart ached and her trust fractured. The perfect wedding day, so carefully envisioned, was suddenly a precarious balancing act between joy and heartbreak. With trembling fingers, she slid the ring back onto her hand, turning it slowly so the name remained hidden from casual view. She would face Kofi, she decided, but not here, not yet. She needed to gather courage, gather facts, and prepare herself for the truth, no matter how painful it might be. As she took one last deep breath, Ayanna glanced back at the reception hall, where joy and celebration continued without interruption. She forced a small smile, hiding the storm within, while her mind made a silent vow. She would uncover the truth, even if it destroyed everything she thought she knew. The world might still celebrate, but for Ayanna, everything had changed in a single, devastating moment. Ayanna could no longer ignore the heaviness in her chest. The name engraved inside her wedding ring, Lena, burned at the back of her mind, turning every smile and laugh into a bitter echo. She had tried to brush it off at first, telling herself it must be a mistake. But now, as she watched Kofi laugh and mingle with the guests, the weight of uncertainty pressed down on her like a physical force. She could feel the day slipping from her, tainted by suspicion and fear. She slipped away from the crowd, moving with quiet determination through the soft glow of the reception hall. Guests danced and laughed, oblivious to the storm brewing behind the bride's calm exterior. Ayanna's hands trembled slightly as she approached Kofi, who was talking with a cousin near the buffet table. His face lit up when he saw her, a practiced, warm smile that had always reassured her. "Kofi," she said softly, but her voice carried an edge he could not miss. He turned, eyebrows raised, sensing the sudden seriousness in her tone. "Anna, what is it? Are you okay?" She held up her hand, showing him the ring. The glint of gold reflected the soft light of the chandeliers, and the name etched inside. Lena glimmered ominously. "Whose name is this?" she asked, keeping her voice steady, though every word trembled with controlled fury. Kofi's expression flickered, just for a moment, before he forced a calm, reassuring smile. "Ayanna, it's nothing. I think it must be a mistake. Maybe the jeweler engraved the wrong name." Her chest tightened. "A mistake?" she repeated, disbelief lacing every syllable. "The ring was made for us. For me. And yet it has another woman's name. How is that a mistake?" Kofi's eyes darted away for a brief instant, betraying the first crack in his composure. "It's sentimental," he said carefully. "Just something from the past. It doesn't matter now. It's meaningless." Ayanna's grip on the ring tightened. "Meaningless? This isn't meaningless, Kofi. This is my wedding ring. My promise. This is supposed to be about us." Her voice rose, soft enough not to alert everyone, but sharp with pain and anger. Around them, the music and laughter seemed to dim in her ears, and she noticed the subtle shift in Kofi's posture. He avoided her gaze, his hands twitching, the smile now forced and strained. Her intuition told her there was more, and each second of silence felt like a test of courage. She wanted answers, honesty, clarity. She wanted to know if the life she had imagined was real or just a beautiful lie. Kofi stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Ayanna, please don't jump to conclusions. It doesn't mean what you think. You have to trust me." Trust. The word cut through her like glass. She had trusted him completely, believed in his love with every fiber of her being. And yet here it was, shattered in a few silent letters engraved on a ring. Her eyes narrowed. "Trust? How can I trust you when this proof of someone else's presence in your life, is on my hand, on the ring you gave me today?" Kofi swallowed, his face tense. "I promise you it's complicated. It's from a long time ago. It doesn't mean anything now." You don't get it," she interrupted, shaking slightly, her voice rising with emotion. "This was supposed to be the start of our life together. And now, I don't even know who you are anymore." A hush fell over them for a brief moment. The sound of laughter and music continued around them, but it was distant, unreal. Ayanna's heart pounded in her chest. Every word Kofi spoke now carried suspicion. Every gesture, every smile, every laugh, she questioned them all. Kofi reached out, as if to take her hand, but she stepped back, keeping the ring just out of his reach. The name inside seemed to burn against her skin, a reminder that the vows they had exchanged could now be empty promises. I need the truth, Kofi. Not excuses, not reassurances. I need to know everything. And I need to know it now, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, but laced with steel. He hesitated, swallowing hard. His eyes flicked to the crowd, then back to hers. Ayanna, please not here. Can we wait until later? No, she said firmly, her gaze piercing. There is no later. There's only now. If there's a truth, I need it now. Kofi's forced calm faltered, and Ayanna could see it in the tremor of his hands, the hesitation in his eyes. The perfect day, the joy around them, the smiles of friends and family. It all felt fragile now, teetering on the edge of collapse. And Ayanna knew deep down, that nothing would ever feel the same again until she discovered the truth. The tension hung in the air like a thick fog, heavy and suffocating. She realized that the ring was no longer just a symbol of love. It was a mirror, reflecting the cracks in their relationship and the secrets he had carried. Ayanna took a steadying breath, forcing herself to stay composed for the moment, though her heart ached with betrayal. She knew this confrontation was only the beginning. The answer she sought might hurt more than she could bear, but she had no choice. She had to know, even if it meant shattering the illusion of the perfect wedding day completely. After the wedding reception ended in a blur of polite smiles and half-hearted congratulations, Ayanna returned to her room, her mind racing. The engraved name Lena haunted her thoughts, refusing to be silenced. She felt a storm of anger, confusion, and heartbreak, all twisting inside her like a knot she could not untangle. For the first time, the perfect image of Kofi she had carried for years seemed fractured, like a mirror smashed into tiny, dangerous pieces. She sat on the edge of the bed, the soft fabric of her dress crumpled beneath her. Her hands shook as she thought through the day's events, replaying every smile, every gesture, every word Kofi had spoken. Was it all a lie? Could the love she felt have been built on secrets she hadn't known existed? She could not stop the tears that threatened, burning at the corners of her eyes. She had to know the truth. The next morning, Ayanna began her quiet investigation. She could not confront Kofi yet, not publicly, not without proof. She needed clarity, evidence, a foundation on which to confront him or decide her next steps. Her first instinct was to reach for the phone, scrolling through old messages they had shared. At first, it seemed innocent, loving texts, sweet reminders, and playful jokes. But as she dug deeper, her heart sank. There were messages she had never seen before, brief, casual conversations with someone named Lena. Names, emojis, dates. Messages that hinted at a familiarity, a closeness she had never been a part of. Her stomach twisted with disbelief. She traced every conversation, looking for explanations, for signs that it was innocent, but the connection felt real, intimate, and hidden. She moved on to old photographs, scrolling through social media posts and tag pictures. There they were, Kofi and Lena, smiling together, sharing moments that Ayanna had never known about. Parties, dinners, trips. Each image was a punch to her chest. Each photo whispered betrayal. The realization that Kofi had lived a life beside hers, secret and unknown, cut deeper than words could describe. Her emotions oscillated between anger, sadness, and confusion. Anger at the lies, sadness for the trust that had been broken, and confusion about what it all meant for their future. Her mind whirled. How long had this been going on? Why had he never told her? And most importantly, could she ever forgive him? Ayanna knew she needed guidance. She reached out to her closest confidants, her best friend, Amara, and her older sister, Zura. Sitting in her room with them, she showed the messages and photos, her hands trembling as she explained everything. Amara's eyes widened in shock, then hardened with protective anger. Ayanna, you deserve the truth, she said firmly. You can't let him hide this from you any longer. Zura nodded, her voice calm but resolute. You have to confront him with evidence, and you have to decide what you're willing to accept. Don't let anyone pressure you into silence. Bolstered by their support, Ayanna began organizing her thoughts, cataloging messages, photos, and posts. Every small detail that might reveal the full picture. Each discovery tightened the knot in her chest. Each revelation made Kofi less the man she had loved and more a stranger who had inhabited her life under false pretenses. Meanwhile, Kofi began to notice subtle changes in Ayanna's demeanor. She asked questions, casually at first, about past trips, old friends, and messages he had left behind. He caught her lingering gaze at his phone once, her raised eyebrow, the subtle pause in conversation. Something shifted in his posture, a flicker of worry that he tried to mask with a smile. But Ayanna could feel it, the tension, the edge in his voice when he answered, the small evasions that now seemed obvious. Each discovery, each hidden truth, escalated the suspense. Ayanna felt like she was walking on a tightrope, balancing between heartbreak and revelation. Her world, once painted in the bright colors of love and hope, had turned into a shadowed landscape of secrets and suspicion. The man she had trusted most in the world was slipping further into mystery, and she had to uncover every hidden corner. Late into the night, Ayanna sat alone, reviewing her findings. Every photo, every message, every small piece of evidence made the same painful conclusion clear. Kofi had lived a life beside hers, a life that had included another woman. She pressed her hand to her chest, feeling the tight rhythm of her heartbeat, and whispered to herself, "I need the truth. I need it all." The room was silent except for the hum of the city outside, but the tension inside her burned bright. Ayanna realized that nothing would ever feel the same again. Trust, once sacred, now felt fragile. Love, once unquestioned, now carried suspicion. And yet, amidst the pain, she found clarity, a determination to confront the truth, to see the world as it really was, even if it meant the life she had imagined would crumble around her. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the confrontation that she knew was coming. This was no longer just about a ring, or a name, or a secret. This was about her future, her dignity, and her heart. And Ayanna knew that she would not step back. Not until she had uncovered every hidden truth, no matter how devastating it might be. The investigation had begun. The perfect illusion was over. And the next step would bring the secrets into the open, whether Kofi was ready or not. The room was quiet except for the distant sounds of the city outside. Ayanna stood near the window, her fingers clutching the printed screenshots of messages, old photos, and posts she had collected over the past days. Each image, each word, felt heavier than the last. Evidence of a life Kofi had hidden from her, of a truth he had kept buried. Her chest tightened, and her heartbeat thundered as if warning her of the confrontation to come. She could no longer postpone it. She needed answers, and she needed them now. Kofi was in the living room, pretending to read a book, though she could feel his tension even from a distance. His posture was stiff, and every so often, his eyes flicked toward her. He knew something was coming, though he did not yet know the storm he had invited. Ayanna's hands trembled as she stepped forward, placing the evidence on the table between them. "Kofi," she said, her voice low but steady, "I know everything." His eyes widened, and he dropped the book, the sudden movement loud in the quiet room. "Ayanna, what are you?" She cut him off, lifting the first photo. These messages, these pictures. You've been living a life with Lena while I believed I was the only one. Do you have any idea what this feels like?" Kofi swallowed hard, words failing him. His usual calm demeanor had vanished, replaced with the flicker of fear and guilt she had glimpsed earlier. It's not what it looks like," he stammered. Ayanna's chest heaved. "Not what it looks like. You lied to me every single day we were planning this wedding. You hid her from me, from our families, from everyone." Her voice cracked, a mix of heartbreak and fury. "Do you even know what betrayal feels like?" He tried to reach for her hand, but she stepped back. "Don't touch me," she said, the edge in her tone cutting through the room like a knife. "I need to hear the truth, Kofi. No excuses, no lies, no more hiding." For a moment, silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. The weight of the evidence, the depth of the betrayal, pressed down on both of them. Ayanna's eyes burned, her hands still clutching the proofs of his deception. She felt the tears rise, not just of sadness, but of anger and disbelief. Kofi's shoulders slumped, and he finally spoke, voice low and strained. "Ayanna, I never meant for you to find out like this. I should have told you, I know, but it was complicated." Ayanna laughed bitterly, a sound sharp and pained. "Complicated? Do you think complicated covers lying, hiding, deceiving the person you promised to love forever? Do you know what I imagined for our life? Do you know what I trusted in you?" The tension in the room was unbearable. Ayanna's heart raced as she looked at the man she had loved, now a stranger hiding behind excuses and regret. Every decoration, every symbol of the wedding, The rings, the vows, the flowers felt tainted, as if mocking the reality she now faced. I can explain, Kofi said again, desperation creeping into his tone. It wasn't what you think. It's not what it seems. You don't get to explain. Ayanna's voice was louder now, shaking with raw emotion. I don't want to hear your excuses. I want the truth. And I want to know why the woman whose name is on my ring mattered more than telling me. Did I mean nothing to you? Kofi's eyes darted around, avoiding hers. Ayanna, it's complicated. You've already chosen Kofi, she shouted, her fists clenching at her sides. You chose lies over love, secrets over trust. And now I have to choose. I have to decide if I can forgive, if I can trust again, or if I walk away and reclaim my life. The silence that followed was heavier than any words. Ayanna could feel the shift in the air, the tension almost physical. Kofi's face, pale and tense, revealed everything she had feared. The man she thought she knew had hidden a part of his life from her, and the consequences now lay bare. Ayanna's mind raced. Every happy memory, every dream she had cherished, collided with the evidence before her. Her heart broke, not only for the betrayal, but for the love she had poured into a relationship that now felt fragile and uncertain. She took a deep, shuddering breath and placed the ring on the table, the engraved name catching the dim light. The symbol of love, commitment, and forever now reflected the painful truth of deception. She stepped back, tears streaming down her cheeks, her body trembling with grief, anger, and exhaustion. For the first time, Ayanna understood the weight of the moment. This was not just a confrontation, it was a crossroads. She could no longer live in ignorance, and she could no longer pretend everything was perfect. The perfect wedding day, the dream of a perfect life with Kofi, had shattered in an instant. And now, the decision lay with her. Forgiveness, confrontation, or leaving everything behind. The emotional breaking point had arrived, and Ayanna would never be the same again. The room was heavy with silence. Ayanna stood with the ring resting on the table between them, its engraved name, Lena, catching the dim light like a mark of betrayal. Her chest heaved, tears sliding down her cheeks, and her hands shook as she tried to steady herself. Kofi's usual charm, the smile that had once melted her heart, was gone. In its place was a man cornered by his own secrets, his eyes filled with guilt, fear, and a weight of years of deception. Ayanna, I need you to hear me, Kofi said, his voice low, strained, and trembling. He ran a hand through his hair, avoiding her gaze. I should have told you. I should have told you a long time ago. But I was afraid of losing you, afraid of what you'd think, afraid of everything. Ayanna's voice cracked as she replied. Everything? Do you even understand what you've done? Do you know how it feels to see another woman's name on the ring I trusted to be ours? I know, he said, finally looking at her, his eyes glassy. And I can't take it back. I know I've hurt you more than I can ever explain. But you need to know the truth. Lena, she was someone from my past. Before I ever met you, I was engaged to her. It was an arranged engagement, one my family insisted on. I didn't love her, not like I love you, but I couldn't say no. I was trapped by tradition and expectations. I thought I could end it. I thought I could move forward without telling you, but I never wanted to hurt you. Ayanna felt her knees weaken, and she sank onto the edge of the couch. Every word hit her like a hammer. A past she hadn't known, a life hidden behind polite smiles and rehearsed charm, now poured out before her. The man she had trusted most had carried this secret like a shadow, keeping part of himself away from her, believing silence would protect her, or him. You didn't want to hurt me? She whispered, voice trembling with disbelief. You didn't want to hurt me, yet you married me without telling me? You carried her name on my ring. I know, Kofi said, his voice barely above a whisper. I know it was wrong. I was afraid of losing you, afraid you'd leave me if you knew. I thought I could protect us both. I was selfish. I see that now, clearer than ever. But Ayanna, my love for you is real. Everything I've done with you, every moment we shared, every promise, every dream, it has been true. Ayanna's mind spun. Conflicting emotions raged inside her. Anger, betrayal, shock, and beneath it all, the lingering love she had felt for Kofi, the memories of laughter, shared secrets, and tender moments. Could she separate the man who had lied from the man she had loved? Could she forgive him and still trust him again? Her tears fell freely now, and she wrapped her arms around herself, trembling. Why didn't you tell me? Was I not worth the truth? You are worth everything, Ayanna, Kofi said, his voice breaking. I was cowardly, and I made a mistake. I never stopped loving you. I wanted our life together, our family, our future, but I was trapped by my past, by fear, by expectations. I see now that my silence hurt you more than anything. I'm so sorry. Ayanna looked at him, searching for the sincerity in his eyes. She could see the guilt, the fear, the raw honesty that came with the confession. Yet even as he spoke, she could feel the ache of betrayal, the sharp sting of the years of hidden truths, and the shadow it had cast over the life she had imagined. Kofi stepped closer, cautiously, as if each movement might push her further away. Ayanna, I can't change the past, but I can promise you the future. I will be honest with you from now on. I want to earn back your trust, to rebuild what I've broken. Please give me a chance. The words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of possibility and consequence. Ayanna's mind raced. Could she forgive him? Could she let go of the anger and fear? Could love, trust, and hope grow again where betrayal had rooted itself so deeply? She looked at the ring, its gold surface glinting under the soft light. The name Lena, still etched inside, was a symbol of the past, of mistakes, and of hidden lives. And yet, it also symbolized the choice she now had to make. The choice between holding on to anger or risking vulnerability, between leaving and reclaiming love under new, honest terms. Ayanna drew in a long, shuddering breath, her fingers brushing the ring. Her heart ached with the enormity of the decision. She had reached the point where nothing could remain hidden, nothing could be ignored. The confession had brought clarity, even if it carried pain. And now, the choice was hers, to walk away, to forgive, or to attempt to rebuild a love fractured by secrecy. The silence stretched, the room charged with unspoken emotion. Ayanna's gaze met Kofi's, searching for the truth in his eyes, weighing every word, every gesture, every ounce of sincerity he offered. This was the moment that would define them both. The moment where the past met the present, where heartbreak met hope, and where trust would either be rebuilt or broken forever. Ayanna sat alone in the quiet of their bedroom, the city lights outside twinkling like distant stars. The evidence lay spread out before her. Messages, photos, and the wedding ring with the name Lena etched inside. Every piece of proof weighed heavily on her heart, a constant reminder of the betrayal she had discovered. Her mind raced, grappling with conflicting emotions, love, anger, heartbreak, and lingering hope. She thought of Kofi, the man she had loved with everything she had, the man who had confessed his secret past with tears in his eyes. Could she trust him again? Could she forgive him for hiding part of his life, for allowing her to live in ignorance, for the subtle lies that had built up over the years? Her fingers toyed with the wedding ring, turning it slowly in her hand. The gold was warm, smooth, but the engraved name beneath reminded her of pain, of deceit, of the fractured trust between them. It was both a symbol of what they had shared and a mirror of what had been broken. Ayanna's thoughts wandered to her family and friends. Her mother's loving eyes, full of pride and expectation, flashed in her mind. Her father's quiet strength, her sister's steady support, and Amara's protective guidance, they all mattered. Cultural expectations pressed upon her shoulders, whispering about forgiveness, reconciliation, and preserving appearances. Yet Ayanna knew that the weight of these expectations could not guide her heart. She had to decide for herself, not for anyone else. She closed her eyes and pictured the life she had imagined with Kofi. Laughter-filled mornings, shared dreams, children playing in the sun, the comfort of a love she thought unbreakable. And then she pictured the shadows, the secret life he had kept, the hidden messages, the moments of doubt that had crept into her mind since discovering the ring. Could love survive this fracture? Or had the truth permanently altered the foundation of their relationship? The room seemed to shrink around her, the silence amplifying the tension within. She could hear her own heartbeat, a relentless drum echoing the stakes of the choice before her. Every fiber of her being screamed that she deserved honesty, transparency, and a love free from secrets. And yet, the love she felt for Kofi still lingered, stubborn and unyielding, like a flame refusing to die. Ayanna opened her eyes and looked at him, seated quietly across the room, his expression a mix of fear and hope. I can't promise it will be easy, she thought, and I can't promise I'll ever forget. She took a deep breath, weighing every emotion, every memory, every scar of trust and betrayal. The symbolism of the ring pressed on her consciousness. If she removed it, it would be an act of self-respect, a refusal to be bound by deception. But if she kept it, it could represent a chance at rebuilding trust, a testament to the possibility of forgiveness and growth. She understood that no matter what choice she made, it would define not only her relationship with Kofi, but also her sense of self, her boundaries, and her emotional resilience. Ayanna's thoughts returned to the moments of the past days, the confrontation, the heartbreak, the confession. She remembered Kofi's trembling voice, the way he had admitted his mistakes, the sincerity in his eyes. Could she allow herself to trust him again? Could love, even with scars, grow into something stronger? She stood, pacing slowly, the ring clutched in her hand. The city outside seemed to hold its breath along with her, waiting for the decision that would shape her life. Every instinct, every heartbeat, pulled her in two directions: to walk away and reclaim her life, or to stay and attempt the difficult work of rebuilding a love fractured by betrayal. Finally, she exhaled deeply, letting the tension flood out with her breath. She placed the ring on the dresser, pausing as her fingers lingered on it. She would not rush the decision. This was not just about a single moment of anger or pain. It was about her heart, her values, and her capacity to forgive and heal. Ayanna turned to Kofi, her eyes meeting his. The air between them was heavy, charged with emotion and the weight of the choice. I need time, she said softly, her voice steady despite the storm inside. Time to understand if I can trust again, if I can forgive, and if love can survive this. But know this, I'm not the same woman who trusted blindly before. I will not ignore my heart, my values, or the truth. Kofi nodded slowly, tears glistening in his eyes. Understand. I'll wait. I'll do whatever it takes to prove I'm worthy of your trust. In that moment, Ayanna realized that choice was not just about staying or leaving. It was about reclaiming control over her life, honoring her emotions, and defining the terms of her love. Whatever the future held, she knew she had the strength to face it, and the wisdom to ensure her heart was respected. The decision was hers, and hers alone. The ring, the secrets, and the shattered illusions had brought her to a moment of clarity. She would follow her heart, protect her dignity, and step forward with courage, whether that path led to forgiveness or a new beginning without Kofi. The morning sun spilled golden light across the bedroom, catching the edges of the wedding decorations that still lingered, untouched since the chaotic events of the past days. Ayanna stood by the window, her hands clasped together, and stared at the city below. The world had continued to move, oblivious to the storm she had endured. But for her, everything had shifted. She had faced betrayal, heartbreak, and the raw truth of a love she thought she knew. The ring rested quietly on the dresser, its engraved name a stark reminder of what had been hidden. Ayanna touched it lightly, feeling the cold weight of the metal. It symbolized both pain and clarity, an emblem of broken trust, yet also a marker of her resilience. She had spent sleepless nights weighing her emotions, listening to her heart, and considering the consequences of each possible choice. Kofi entered the room, his eyes filled with apprehension and hope. "Ayanna," he began softly, "have you made a decision?" She turned to face him, the sunlight illuminating her expression, calm, composed, and determined. "I have," she said, her voice steady, carrying the weight of her clarity. "I've decided that trust cannot be rebuilt overnight. I need time, space, and honesty every day from now on if this is going to work. If I am to love again, it must be on terms of truth, not secrecy." Kofi's shoulders sagged with relief and a hint of lingering fear. "I will give you all of that," he promised, his voice trembling. "I will earn your trust back, no matter how long it takes." Ayanna nodded, feeling a cautious hope stir within her chest. She realized that love could exist even after betrayal, but it required boundaries, honesty, and mutual respect. She could forgive, yes, but forgiveness did not mean ignoring the past. It meant acknowledging it, learning from it, and allowing herself to grow stronger. She picked up the ring, turning it slowly in her fingers one last time. The engraved name remained, but its power over her had faded. It was no longer a weapon, no longer a source of doubt. It was a reminder of the lessons she had learned, about trust, about love, and about the strength she carried within herself. Carefully, she placed it back on the dresser. The ring's story was a part of their past, but it would not dictate her future. The wedding decorations, the flowers, and the scattered mementos of what had been meant to be a perfect day now carried new meaning. They were symbols not just of love and joy, but also of endurance, reflection, and growth. Ayanna breathed deeply, feeling the weight of grief lighten with each exhale. She had survived heartbreak, confronted deceit, and claimed her emotional agency. Kofi stepped closer, hesitating. "Ayanna, I don't deserve your trust yet, but I hope one day I will. I love you truly." Her gaze softened, but remained firm. "Love is more than words, Kofi. Actions will prove whether this is possible. And I will be watching, learning, and deciding every step of the way." For the first time in days, Ayanna felt a sense of peace settle over her. She was not helpless, nor was she bound by the mistakes of the past. She had faced the truth, confronted the betrayal, and carved a path forward that honored her heart and her values. Whether Kofi walked that path beside her or not, she was ready to move forward with clarity, dignity, and strength. The sunlight bathed the room, warming her skin as she took a final, reflective breath. The storm had passed, leaving behind lessons and resilience. She glanced once more at the ring, then out the window at the city below. Life continued, full of possibilities, choices, and hope. Ayanna smiled faintly, a quiet, powerful smile. She had chosen herself first, embraced her strength, and claimed the right to define her own happiness. In that moment, she understood. Trust, love, and forgiveness were not gifts given lightly. They were earned, nurtured, and protected. And from that realization came freedom, clarity, and the courage to step boldly into the next chapter of her life. The chapter of heartbreak was closed. The chapter of healing and self-empowerment had begun.